Hey, what's going on, guys? The other day I posted a picture to Instagram of my sort of ridiculous SG Standard collection. And since then I've gotten a few DMs about the front guitar, which is Linde from him's old touring guitar. So I bought it about a year and a half ago when he was offloading some of his old him stuff, and I haven't really done anything with it. So I thought maybe this would be a cool opportunity to, I don't know, break it down, see what the specs are, and get a really good look at it. So let's throw it on the bench and maybe clean it up a little bit. Okay, so here it is, serial number 0263700678. That puts it at a manufacture date of September 20th, 2007. I would imagine that it was ordered ahead of the winter/spring Venus Doom tour. You'll see on the back of the headstock, I have Linde's autograph. I went and saw Flat Earth at a little bar near my house back in January, and I took my guitar in and asked Linde if he would sign it, and he very graciously did. This guitar has the Buzz Feiten system installed. Basically what that is the nut overhangs just a little bit toward the first fret, and that allows to compensate for offset tuning. So when you have like a piano, you have an individual string for each key that makes it so that you can tune perfectly across the entire keyboard. With a guitar, you have 6 strings, you have straight frets. It's never going to be perfectly in tune. So that allows, at least for the guitar, to be a little bit more in tune with itself. That was something that their old guitar tech, Martin Korfer, was a big proponent of, but it seems like they abandoned that in 2010 when their new tech, Kimmo, came on. This is the guitar that Linde played at the last him show that I got to see on the Bang & Whimper tour, October 26, 2017, in Anaheim, California at the House of Blues. That was a pretty special show. There was some fan like up near the front that held up a sign that said something like, "It's my birthday, please play Sleepwalking Past Hope." And impromptu the band did, so everybody freaked out, and it was just a very special, bittersweet memory. Now, in Kimmo's book, he talks about how on that last tour, there was an issue with the bridge pickups between the number 1 and the number 2. It was basically there was an output mismatch, and he said that one of them had maybe a loose coil wire that was grounding out, and so you got like a huge drop in output. So it wouldn't surprise me if we need to do a little bit of repair on this. As far as expected specs, we should have something like a Seymour Duncan SH159 in the neck.
You sure about that?
And then this would be the Gibson 500T. So we should be looking at between 7 and 8K on the neck and 15 to 16 on the bridge. I've got a multimeter here that's just wired up with a 1/4-inch plug. So let's see what we're looking at. All right, so in the neck position, 7.5, that's pretty perfect. And then in the bridge position, we're getting nothing. It's just swinging. So that sounds about right for a busted coil. Another thing that we can test is just plug it into a regular old amp, and let's see what we're hearing. So we can definitely hear a little bit of hum going on there. And yeah, that is very Yeah, that's very nasally. Basically what we're hearing there is it sounds like one of the coils is shorting out, and so it basically sounds like a single coil pickup rather than a humbucker. So we're definitely going to need to tear in and repair that. It might be a catastrophic failure, we'll see. Luckily I do have a few 500Ts sitting around, so not a big deal. Next, let's tear it down and see what's going on inside. Maybe get this cleaned up and we can check on that pickup. Okay, now this is kind of interesting. We have some label underneath the bridge here. Looks like it says 2, and then there's a piece of electrical tape over the top, so not sure what that is all about. Moving on. Here's what the electronics are looking like. Looks like just the standard Gibson stuff. It looks like the pots have some solder on the back here where the replacement pickups were added in. Let's get those desoldered. For the bridge pickup, we have a little hot lead here. Warm that up and should come loose pretty quick. There it is. And then we've got the ground at the back of the pot. And there is the bridge pickup. Now for the neck pickup, it's going to be a little tougher. I need to get this little screwdriver in here. Give me a little extra space. We've got a ground wire here. We just got to heat up the back of the pot. And the ground is clear. Now we can work on getting that hot lead out. And there it is. We are desoldered. Now we can move on. Okay, now this is actually interesting. I was going off of the information in Kimmo's book where he talks about outfitting all of the SGs with the same pickups, switching out the neck pickups for Seymour Duncan SH1 59 PAF reissues. But it looks like in this one, it's actually just the standard Gibson 490R. In the bridge position, we do have a 500T. I just wanted to check out what kind of readings we're getting at the end of the lead here. So got the multimeter. This is a Gibson, so generally it'll be the green and white is going to be tied together, and then the red is your hot, the black and bare is your ground. Let's see, we're getting nothing on that. That's right, for if you were to split the pickup, you would run this off to like a mini switch or a push-pull pot, and it should be right around 8K. So what that tells us is that there's definitely something going on with one of the coils. So let's unwrap it and see what we got going on. So basically we're just gonna take this pickup apart. As you can see down in here, there's the ends of your north and south coils, and then they're gonna be tied off, grounded to the base plate. Okay, now that we've got the screws all out of there, let's break it free here, and here is the internal structure. Inside, you've got the ends of your leads and then the splits there. So let's get the multimeter on these and see what we're running into. All right, so we've got our split lead and our ground. Let's try that out. Yep, right about 8K. That's correct. Now we've got our hot lead and our ground. Still nothing. So what that means is that in one of these coils there is a busted wire somewhere down in there. It could be 1 wrap back, it could be 1,000 wraps back. For this pickup I have a few extras sitting around, so it's not a big deal. I'm just going to replace it and then I'll just keep this in the case as the original. So bummer, but that's just how the cookie crumbles. So now that we've got it stripped down, just for fun, I think I'm gonna turn on the overhead blacklight. You can probably already see the haze where the pick guard was. Under there, it's protected from the UV. You might be able to see here, there's a couple of little dings. It looks like maybe someone set a coffee cup down on it or something. You can see all these little dings and dents where it's broken through the clear coat. So basically what's happening here is anywhere the UV light got to, it will fade. Here you can see where it's all green on the headstock, and that's just from the UV yellowing. Super cool. Before we get too crazy clean in here, I just want to do a little bit of polishing on these frets. There's not a whole lot of divoting, but it looks like they haven't been touched in a while, so might as well do that now. So basically what I've got here is just some regular old painter's tape. I generally like to get the low tack kind, just so it doesn't leave any type of residue on the fretboard, but all you need to do is just cover up the rosewood basically. The next thing is just a regular old multi-nail file. Generally all you're going to need is maybe like number 5, 6, and 7, and then you just scrub, 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 and you'll see it comes out mirror shine. Now that we've got the frets all polished up, let's just do a little bit of cleaning, get rid of some of this junk and gunk that was hidden under the pick guard and knobs. Now what I'm using here is this guardsman polish. Basically it's just a furniture polish that I know is nitrocellulose safe. So this is the stuff that they actually used to package as the Martin polish. It's good stuff. It's kind of tough to get here in Europe, but you should try it out if you get a chance. Okay, now that the finish is all cleaned up, we can spend a little time conditioning the fretboard. This is one that I really like. It's the Big Ben's Fretboard Juice. And just like that, the fretboard is nice and dark, and the frets are beautiful, shiny, polished. I went through my little Dragon's Hoard of 500 Ts and picked this one out. Looks like we got a reading of 15.6, so nice and hot. And I picked this one because it's got this little rub spot here from the low E that matches the original in Linde's SG. Now you'll probably notice that this is actually a single conductor version. I do have a couple of 4 conductor versions, but I like to save those for when I'm actually going to be splitting pickups, so this will do nicely. Forgot to mention that this is actually kind of a neat little feature here. You'll notice this little extra hole back here in the headstock. What that is a mounting hole for the Hipshot GT1 that he had installed during the Daniel Lioneye and Tears on Tape tours. Basically what that allows him to do is flip this little switch and drop from standard tuning to drop D. Okay, after tuning her up and giving the truss rod about a quarter turn, this thing is perfect.
Fair in a loss than war.